Hello out there, and welcome to another episode in our forum, Cross-Cultural Experiences, wherever you're watching from our beautiful world. Now, you might notice that I'm wearing this face mask. Nothing, it's not about any other thing but the fact that I'm now visiting with my dentist, and it is for my own protection, until they finish what they're doing. Visiting the dentist is not like a walk in the park, but that's okay because they're doing their job. All right. Today I have a special guest. I just call her Josie, which she will tell you she will tell you her real names and what she does. So Josie, I welcome you to this forum. Thanks for your
Thank you.
time. All right. Okay. So briefly introduce yourself before we go into the experience you want to share.
Okay, yeah, my name is Josie Liu. My Chinese name is Liu Zhaoxi. I'm from China and I went to college in China, but I got my master's and my PhD degree in the United States. So I've been studying and working, living in the United States for more than 20 years.
Can I say ni hao?
Yeah, you did very well. Ni hao.
And so for people who don't know, what is it? Can you tell our viewers what ni hao means?
It just means hello in Chinese.
Hello. Yeah, it is
Yeah.
ordinary hello. So one of the things I do when I travel to any place is to at least know how to say hello in the language of the people. So I pick this up from Beijing. So I can say ni hao. But when you start speaking beyond ni hao, you have lost me.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. People love that.
All right, yeah, because it makes people at home to hear that you can, say something in their language. All
Mhm,
right.
mhm.
Okay. So what experiences or what processes do you want to share for this forum?
Well, I think what I want to say is just in the past 20 years, the stark contrast that I have experienced when it comes to the attitude and just the vibe when it comes to, attitude toward China. I mean, when I first came here in the early 2000s, 20 years ago, and China was still developing, and most people would treat Chinese people as, people coming from a third world country,
Okay.
and therefore people are very nice to you. They generally think that China is big, but China is poor, and therefore when Chinese people don't have much. So that was like the general vibe. But as time passes and Chinese economy grew, and China's military power grew, and you start to hear people say, oh, China is now, you know becoming stronger.
Yeah.
And you start to hear people talking about how China is holding lots of bonds from the United States, and therefore is like a debt owner of American debt. So you start to hear something like that, but then later on, there's I think a major turning point would be COVID, of course. But even
Okay.
before COVID, there's trade war, because before that, for a long time, while I was in college in China and when I first came to the United States, the trade relation between China and the US is the United States classified China as like a favorable trading part,
Yeah.
something like that. And so, I mean, we didn't hear anything about tariffs and things like that. But then after 2016, you start to hear tariffs. So first of all, you have the tariff war, and then of course COVID happened, and then there's a lot of targeting and blame on China, and sometimes that turned into sort of the antagonism against Chinese people, even Asian people in general in the United States. So that was really a major turning point for me, because before that, even though China and the US become, it's clear that these two countries are competing with each other, but in general, what I feel is a sense of friendliness among American people toward Chinese people. So in general, it was friendly.
Yes.
But when COVID happens, there are quite a few anti-Asian, anti-Chinese sort of incidents. People who look Asian, who look Chinese, they're just getting attacked, on streets, on buses, subway stations. And that became really scary. I just remember there's one time
Yeah.
during COVID, me and my family, we were just walking around the neighborhood because we really couldn't go anywhere. So
Correct.
and we were at home all the time. So we take a walk outside and in my neighborhood. And then my son, so he was 8 years old at that time. And well, we're walking and he just disappeared. We did not know where he was. We looked
Disappeared.
Yeah, we looked ahead of us and behind us, we just couldn't see him. I mean, normally I wouldn't be worried, because he's a very active boy. He runs around, he doesn't stay with us and he has his own idea of where to go. I wouldn't be worried. But at that time, that moment, 2020, something like that, the moment was a pretty intense moment. There were a lot of hostility toward Chinese people and all of that. And I immediately got very nervous because I did not know whether someone grabbed him.
Any mother would. Any mother would.
Yeah, so I was just like freaking out. And then it was in the neighborhood, and my son did not have a phone and anything. So we just rushed home and see if he's home. And of course, he was home. He just got bored of all the walking, and he decided to run home. He just want to go home. And so he ran ahead of us, and he went to home. But to me, I mean, of course, it was all right. But I was just thinking, this is ridiculous. I would get so scared in my own neighborhood, simply
Correct.
because my son was out of my sight for a few minutes and I just got so scared. And I,
Yeah. So if I might interject,
Mhm,
how has I mean it's like you are living you lived through two periods.
mhm,
One was friendly, the other
mhm,
one not too friendly. How
mhm.
these experiences, how have they impacted you as a person, knowing that you are now outside of your cultural origin?
Yes. It really impacted a lot, to be honest. And right now, anywhere I go, restaurants or like entertainment venues or going to like big events with lots of people, I am definitely a lot more self-aware that I look Chinese. Of course, I am Chinese. I become much more self-conscious about that fact. It wasn't like that before, because the US is such a, multiracial, multicultural country.
Yeah,
Anywhere you go, you see all kinds of people, right? That used to be to me a wonderful thing about this country is that you never feel out of place, even if you don't look like most of the people here, because there are many other people who don't look, like the
yeah,
party, right? So that used to be a wonderful thing, but now I become a lot more self-conscious about that fact because I just don't know whether in the crowd, somewhere, somebody in the crowd will just start to take offense simply because there's a Chinese person present, So I really don't know, especially in Texas, people carry guns everywhere. So
right.
I become a lot more self-conscious, to be honest. And
Yeah,
it just so in my daily life, except for going to grocery stores in my neighborhood, which I visit a lot, so I feel okay. But when I travel, go to other places, restaurants, I'm always wary, because I just don't know at what point whether somebody just decided to act crazily, So it just becomes a lot more uneasy and intense on a daily basis. And professionally, in my teaching, because I do teach a few courses that will touch upon Chinese culture, Chinese society, and I am also making deliberate effort to try to tell students what China really is, because most of my students, they've never visited China. Their
correct.
information about this country always comes from American media, which is predominantly negative about China. They portray China in a very, very narrow, pigeonholed way.
Correct. I was going to ask you, so some of these
Uh-huh.
things can be attributed to media portrayals.
It could,
Right,
yeah, very, very likely. So, I mean, if you just consume American media, you really do not hear anything good about China. You know, China is a national security threat. China is big rivalry, human rights abuse, authoritarianism. I mean, those are the words you hear over and over and over. But what I try to tell my students is that, I mean, I do not deny those things, but I would say China is much, much more than that.
right. I was in Beijing,
Uh-huh.
before COVID, and I believe I enjoyed myself, you know,
Yeah.
because I went to the Great Wall,
Uh-huh.
and people were very friendly. In fact,
Yes.
you wouldn't believe it. I stopped somewhere, in the park,
Mm-hmm.
where elderly people, they came out in the morning to dance. I
Yes.
saw that, and I just joined the dance, and I was dancing. Everybody was happy, and yeah,
Right.
in fact, I have a video. Maybe one of these days I'm going to play it. I really enjoyed myself to the point that when I came back, the
Mm-hmm.
first visit I had with my doctor, the
Mm-hmm.
doctor asked me, "You are looking trained. You are looking nice. You are looking. What happened?" I said, "Please, it was. You can attribute it to my 4 weeks in Beijing."
Right.
And the doctor said, "Yeah, you better go back to Beijing." you know.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
exactly. Yeah,
so
but that kind of experience is what our students don't have, you know.
right.
So they do not know what it is like to be in China and on the ground inside the country, what the daily life is like, what Chinese people are like. So they really don't have that kind of information. So the least I can do is, at Trinity we do not have big classes, usually small classes. But even if I'm just telling one person, I really try to let them know that the media coverage is quite narrow. It is, it's just very slanted and narrow portrayal of China. And on the ground, things are very different. This country is big, it's vast, and it has many facets. It's not just, one.
Correct. I think one of the yeah you hit the nail on the head, as they say, because
Mm-hmm,
some people operate from ignorance,
mm-hmm,
and they
mm-hmm.
just believe whatever they see in the media. It's not or they read or hear from the media. It's not.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so one of the aims, of this forum is to
yeah.
start correcting those misconceptions. And then
Mm-hmm,
somebody goes just like you, travel all the way from China, you come to the United, you are feeling at home, when you
yeah,
came in and everything was fine. But
yeah.
when there are media interventions and stories that are not very accurate are being written and shown all the time, then it begins to change people's mind. But like
Yes.
you said, if you can only get one person to
Yeah.
understand that it is not like that, then you
Mm-hmm.
have done your job.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I mean, so I show them pictures I took from China, pictures from the street, from actual people, and share them with them my experience in China. And so just try to give them, a different side, a different image of China besides what they get, the very negative, pigeonholed image that they see in mass media. So even if I cannot fully convince them, but I want to do is just to tell them that at least do not just blindly, wholly believe what you see in the media.
Yeah.
Just have some kind of doubt, have a little bit critical thinking, and have the capability to question. Maybe
Right.
there's more to that. So that's what I'm trying to do in my professional life.
Maybe your background also looks, is it Chinese, the background you're using for this
Yeah.
conversation?
Yes. So
Well,
this is from Lijiang in Yunnan, China.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It looks nice. I wish I will have
Yeah.
an opportunity to go visit.
Yeah. Next
Anyway,
time you should try to go to Yunnan.
I'll go visit again because I was there the first time and I really, really enjoyed myself. I,
Great. Yeah, of
I want to thank you for your time,
course.
and please keep on, expanding the knowledge, because some people operate from ignorance.
Mm,
What you are doing and what this program is all about is to show that
mhm,
probably where you do not know might not be as it is portrayed, in
mhm.
good people are all over the world.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
and I witnessed it. Like I told you, I went to join a dance. I was received
Mhm.
well, and we danced and danced. Everybody was happy. It didn't
Right.
matter where I was coming from.
Yes, exactly. But and I thank you for this opportunity as well, Uche.
Yeah. Thanks again. And then I want to wish you the best and
Mhm.
keep on doing what you're doing. Even if it is only one person you are converting on a daily or weekly basis, that will be it.
Yes, I will try.
Okay. Thanks again. Huh?
Sure.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.